Hello, everybody. Welcome to Palmetto Cats Live. Tonight, we have another show in the, I guess I'm starting to call it the How to Catfish series, because we basically talked about everything, almost everything, about how to catfish, at least the way we do it. And so I'm happy tonight to bring another aspect of it, another mode to catfishing, and that is kayak catfishing. And since you will never see my bountifully blessed booty in a kayak, I have been blessed with four amazing individuals that are going to come in here and tell you everything you need to know about kayak catfishing or fishing out of a kayak for anything, to be honest with you. It's sure to be a good time. I can't wait to get these guests on here. But before I do, hey, Chunky, Norm, Mo, man, Chad's flying already. Finn, Mike Greenwell, let's see, Rex, Muskrat, Katie Collins. Welcome, everybody. Again, hey, Uncle Josh, check it out. 1 ton. Got my shirt in. Lyle, Chesapeake Bay. All right, cool. Let's get started. So before we do actually get started with the content, I do want to remind you that all the links to my guest YouTube channels are in the description. You can go check that out. I also want to inform you or warn you that the links in the description for all the gear and everything aren't necessarily what these guys are going to be showing you. That's just gear I use. But if you want to check it out, if you've seen my videos and wondered what I use, you can go check that out. Also, I put a link to the Golden Whiskers Awards. You have until December 5th, which is rapidly approaching, to vote for the Golden Whiskers Awards. That's coming up. And I tell you what, we've already got over 110 votes in, which is really cool, especially for a first year thing. Next, I just want to thank you to the members of the Boom Squad. That's my membership, family. Hey, look, there's my dad, William Lakin. What's up, Pop? That's Katie, Val, Ray, Cool Cats, Big Mike, Pappy, Tirador Arco, Ricky's Creations, Danny, Ace, Mike Outdoors, and Mike Turner. Whew! I'm so blessed to have all of them. I need to read all their names, right? Next, the show for the Golden Whiskers will be on December 19th. That's a Saturday, not a Sunday. So make sure you block that off on your calendar. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to invite guests on to give out the awards, some of the awards, not all of them. We're going to have a great time. I already have the awards. They're sitting right there on the table over there. It's going to be awesome at 7:30 p.m. on a Saturday, not a Sunday, December 19th. So check that out. We're going to do a giveaway today because I'm thankful that, one, I hit 100,000 views and 2,000 subscribers. Woohoo! What? Slowly growing, man. And I appreciate every single one of you in here. And those of you who are not in here, I appreciate you as well. So today we're going to give away a headlamp. It's a massive headlamp with a big battery on the back of it. Just to say thank you. That was donated by none other than Michael Murillo. Thank you, Michael. And then lastly today, we're going to have our YouTube channel of the week. Sorry, wrong shoulder, right here. But y'all didn't come on here to hear me talk. We're going to talk. I know some of you are wondering about the 24-hour live stream challenge that I'm going to do on Tuesday. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. Let's get things cooking. All right. First, we have a newcomer to YouTube, Ryan Bortz. What's it called? Country Living Catfishing?
Ryan Bortz, blue collar fishing.
Blue collar.
Yeah.
How you doing, Ryan?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Rough day on the water today. Had about an 8-hour skunk trip.
Ooh.
In the rain and wind and cold. It was
Oh man.
Day.
Yeah, I didn't get skunked yesterday, but I had 11 hours of white perch catching. I caught a largemouth bass and 2 channel cats and a bullhead in 11 hours. No blues on a lake that is known for blue catfish. So don't feel bad. And I didn't have an excuse. It was beautiful.
I had an 11-hour trip I got one dink channel cat. So
Yeah.
it's a rough weekend. I knew better than go back to the same spot today, but I figured the cold front might turn them on. Just took a gamble and lost.
Looks like other people. Jason Blackburn, we all saw you get skunked, sir. All right. So we're talking about kayak gear, and I have some of it on the thumbnail. What do you have to show us tonight?
I was going to tell you about my kayak first. I was going to show it to you, but I just couldn't get everything lit up to where you could even see. And it's still in the back of my truck. It stays there days a week. So I run a New Canoe Frontier 12. You can look them up. It's a good brand. Like as far as name brands go, it's not a Hobie. That's out of my price range, but I think I gave $1,300 for it used, and it same year that it was bought. It was a 2019 model. I bought it in 2019, and I've just modified it, put rod holders on. Just I got a video. You can just do the walk around video and go over it, but it's always changing. You always find something to change. It's the same way with a boat. You know, you always find something to do different with your rod holders or whatever. But it's the cheap version of get you by. You know what I mean? I started on a $300 lifetime Tamarack winning tournaments with it. So anything I can get on and stand up, I'm happy with. But as far as gear goes, I run 2 Slime Cat rods. You can, I don't know if y'all can, I don't know how I'm going to do that part, but
that's all right.
Y'all know what a Slime Cat rod looks like. The Slime Cats are what I run for my dragging rigs. I suspend them some too, but usually I'm dragging 2 rods and suspending 2. And then that's the Sandy Drifters. You got Jimmy Smith on the show. He's one of my sponsors. And then I just run a 50-pound leader line, 50-pound braided main line on that rig. And then that one actually has a Whisker Seeker float. And that's got a story behind it. I found that at Kentucky Lake. A guy got broke off and lost it. And I found it, and he told me to keep it. So I brought it back. It stayed in my tackle box for about a year. And I tied it on during a live tournament because I didn't have any more dragon shad with me, which is a human dragon. And I tied that on. And from the factory, they have little clips, like a cable, almost like a cable clamp. And that pulled loose on a fish in a live tournament. And I swore against it. I mean, I didn't pay for it, but if I had a Whisker Seeker, probably would have heard from me on that. And then this one has a 6/0 hook on it. I downsized that today. One of the few times I wasn't too lazy to downsize that. They're the Catfish with a K brand. Jimmy sent them to me to try out, and I love them. I've been running the 9/0s, and I downsized today trying to catch a dink fish for a video, and couldn't even do it then. But that's my dragon rig, and then my other rigs I run the ugly stick catfish rods. You know, just the cheap old $20. I don't remember what they are now. Every one I've got used or gave to me, and I run the Abu Garcia reels. I've got 2 of the SX. What are they? 6600 SX, the Chinese ones, and then I've got 2 of the 6500 made in Sweden ones. I bought at pawn shops. And I had a Catmax reel that somebody had gave me that was like 3 or 4 years old, and that thing made it here. I loved it too. It just finally everything in it went out. Actually, if you look at my channel and see that big fish video, that was the last fish caught on that reel. It smoked that reel after that. But for a bunch of used stuff that somebody's going to throw away anyway, you can't complain about it.
No, not at all, man. And you know, I'll never say anything bad about stuff you get for free.
Yeah, but all my gear, man, like everything I've got the 2 Slime Cat rods I bought new. I bought one at CatCon and I liked it, so I ordered another one with some tournament money that I'd won. And everything else I've bought used or bought at a pawn shop. And I'm not one of these guys that pulls my rods and all my gear out and puts it in the garage every night. I'm on the water 3 days a week, sometimes 4. My gear bed of my truck 7 days a week with my kayak. That way, when I get off work at 4 o'clock, I can roll down to the water and bail out and take off, you know, for 2 hours or whatever. I don't have to spend another hour coming home, loading up, and take back off. And these month-long kayak tournaments, it's if you don't do that, you better be good at what you do. You know what I mean? If you don't put some time in, you're not going to win.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, as someone who is a pontoon fisherman and also someone that lives in an HOA community, I'm the guy that has to unload every night. Hey, my wife had a question. What got you started kayak fishing over bank or boat fishing?
Well, I was a bass guy all my life, and then I got into drugs and went down a bad path and ended up where I'm at now. I ended up at Isaiah House and went to rehab there on a court order. And when I got out of there, instead of going back home, I took a job with them in a job skills training program, doing tree work, lawn care, landscape, and that type of stuff. Training guys that had never done that type of stuff how to work. You know, they'd never had these guys that go through there today. They know how to play on their phone and play an Xbox, and that's it. So they can't start a weed eater most of the time when they come out with me. And I ended up, after I graduated, my uncle gave me his old boat that he had just redone. It's a 18-foot Procraft. He'd had the motor redone, new carpet, the whole 9 yards. You know, it's a brand new boat, basically, new paint. And I was at the lake one day, and a buddy of mine, Shane, was down there, and he kayak fished all the time. Kayak catfish, that's all he did. And I look up and he comes down and he's like coming by and he's getting awful close to me, you know, like in my way fishing close. Well, this guy's got like a 30, 40-pound blue hooked and he ain't got no control over it. You know what I mean? It's just dragging him down the lake. And I got to talking to him that night, you know, and I had a kayak and I bass fished a little bit, you know, before I got my boat. I bass fished off my kayak and this and that and the other. And he said, well, bring it down, fish with me. And I went with him one day and I got about a 20-pound blue. And on that little rinky-dink kayak, I was on that little Lifetime Tamarack from Walmart. That was a blast. So now
You're hooked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hooked. I mean, I've been chasing catfish. I started in September of 2019 was my first trip catfishing. And, I mean, I'd bass fished all my life, like I said, but I'd never been out just chasing catfish. And Shane got me into it, and then he had this little group tournament. You know, it was free. They had some prizes donated, and we went down there, and I won that thing. Well, then I was really hooked.
Yeah.
So then I just started upgrading gear and getting this off this guy when I could. And I was fishing with bass rods when I won that first tournament, you know, and I was just happy as I could be. Here I was beating these guys that done this all their life, you know, and then I started getting into it, and I was like, all right, so every time ain't like that. But
yeah. Hey, man, for first thing, before I get to this question, I just want to thank you for sharing your story so openly, man. That's an awesome testimony.
Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. If I don't
I
share,
will.
then somebody else may not see my story and get help that they need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I was not expecting that. And I just, you know, for someone just put it out there. I mean, I have a lot of respect for you for doing that. People, you probably don't know half these people in here, and you did that, and it's probably going to change one person's life. You know,
if you don't go ahead and put it out there, there's going to be that one guy down the road that's going to try to throw it up in your face or something. So you're better off just to be honest and be open about everything anyway. I mean, that's a video I put out on my channel today. I'd rather put out a skunk video and show y'all I can't catch fish every time. You know, like, because you see these guys like on YouTube that have fish.
Like Spencer Bauer and Denny
fishing every video. But no, all jokes aside, man, I'd rather be honest about it and show everybody, hey, this ain't all fun and games. We sit out here in the rain for nothing.
Yeah. But so one last question for you. Chesapeake Bay Catfishing wants to know, what advantages does kayaks have on the water? I guess as opposed to boats.
My big thing with them, the advantage to it, everything I have is in arm's reach, basically. You know what I mean? Like, I can reach anything I need from my seat at any time. My tackle box right behind me. Most of my tackle's stuck under my seat in a little bag, you know, my hooks and a couple of sinkers and demon dragons or something. I keep that in a little Ziploc bag, and I can just reach down and grab it. My bait, I use a 5-gallon bucket to keep bluegill in that's got an aerator in it. That's right in front of me. That's usually what my phone's propped up against in my videos. My bait cooler, I've got an igloo cooler that I keep frozen bait or you know, bait that I'm not trying to freeze, just keep fresh. It's right behind me. I can reach behind me and pop it open. It's just The only difference is y'all can go further than I can in a day's time. And in a lot of tournaments that we've had, we fished side by side with big boats. That's hurt guys, you know, because we fished within reach of what we could get, and they went way down the lake, and we beat them.
Yeah,
and it just happens that way.
Well, yeah, you know the it's funny. You know, you see the bass fishing guys, which I don't really have anything against bass guys. You know, I think there's jerks that fish for all kinds of fish, but there's just a lot more of them. But you know, they got those big motors that just, you know, they get in and they go 9,000 miles to the other side of the lake, you know, where you would just put in on that side of the lake.
Yeah. I may have to have another 30 minutes.
There you go. Yeah.
But, you know, that's something else that people don't realize. A lot of people think they're being nice when they go by a kayaker and they slow down.
No, keep going.
Hammer down. They don't make any weight that way, especially like a bass boat like you was talking about. They can pass 20, 30 yards, you know, wide open, and it don't bother me. Now they get a little closer than that, and I start getting worried that they don't see me.
Yeah. Is there any good kayak for fat guys?
Yeah.
Kentucky Catman Outdoors.
The New Canoe Frontier 12 is, I think it's a 700 or 750 pound weight rating on it. When I've got my trolling motor on there, I'm running a 24 volt trolling motor that I build out of a bunch of scrap parts. And I've got 2 Marine deep cycle batteries in there with me.
Wow.
So, I mean, you can figure that's 250 worth of batteries, my gear, and me. I'm running 400 or 500 pounds worth of gear in there at any given time. So you don't want to run in there and then try to paddle it. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. How do you deal with snags?
Very carefully. No, for real. I just stand up, reel down just as low as I can reach, wrap the line around my reel just like everybody else, pull up and break it. I mean, I stand up and walk around in my kayak like I do in my boat.
Awesome. Yeah, I looked at you know, a couple of them just because people ask me why I've never tried it, and you know, to be honest, I wouldn't mind trying it, and I think something like that that big Hobie, that big white Hobie, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, the Pro whatever. Anyway, it's 14 foot long and it looks like a John boat. I would try that, but it's like $4 or $5 grand.
Yeah,
and I don't want to pay $4 or $5 grand to try it out.
You can find like the dealers, they have like demo days and stuff. Summertime, every dealer usually will have one. You can go out and demo their kayaks and stuff for free and just take it, paddle around the lake a little bit or whatever, and try several different models. Or like when I was looking for one, I tried out probably 7 or 8 different ones that my buddies had, you know, and still ended up buying one that I had never been on. But I kind of bit about it. I'd done some research, and Spencer makes them look awful good. That's the same kayak he uses too. So.
Cool. Well, hey man, I appreciate it. You know, good luck with the channel. I started watching the other day as well. You know, I forget. Oh, you were doing that challenge.
No,
and I had never heard of your channel, so I got you subbed as well. Y'all, if you haven't checked out Ryan Bortz, I can't remember. I keep forgetting the other half of it. Go ahead and say it.
Ryan Bortz, Blue Collar Fishing.
Blue Collar Fishing. Blue Collar Fishing. All right. Y'all check him out. You got anything you want to leave us with?
No, man. Keep them tight.
All right. Take it easy, Ryan.
All right. Thank you, bud.
Yep. All right. We got the snack man coming up here, Mr. Flint Hill Catfishing. There's something wrong with that, though, because you're not in slow motion. I can't unmute you. You're going to have to unmute yourself if you want to talk to us. Sound man.
Yeah, you know that audio technician, I can't turn the sound on. If I'm going to do the snack eating slow without music, it's going to be pretty weird.
Yeah.
Pretty
yeah,
weird.
thanks for putting Ryan Bortz Blue Collar Fishing in the link there. Thank you so much. All right, Flint Hill.
What's happening, gang?
From my part of the woods, well, closer than most to my part of the woods. What you got for us tonight, buddy?
Man, first of all, like 15 seconds. Spencer Bauer and Denny, man, like I've been subbed to those guys for like 5 years, man. And they're part of the inspiration why I wanted to catch catfish in a kayak. So I just want to say that I'll probably never get to talk to them. That's fine. I don't need to. I just watch your videos. And secondly,
There you go. Go ahead and say something
hey,
to
what's
them.
up, gang? I mean, y'all are my heroes, man. I'm gonna tell you what, boy. I dug in y'all's videos early on, man. Early on.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, man.
you guys.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Well-
followed your story all the way through, Denny, with ups and downs. It's pretty interesting to see. You've always done great videos, and Spencer, you kill me with your sarcasm, man. I like just die.
Is my microphone working?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're working, dude.
Oh, well, Denny's my hero too, as far as that goes.
He is, man. He's awesome. He makes great videos. Both of you guys do. But the thing that kills me, I was looking at one of Spencer's videos, I don't know, a couple months ago or something, and this guy comments on there was like nasty. He's like, you're like, and he was like smart nasty. He's like, you're an existential nihilist or something crazy like that. And Spencer's comment, typical Spencer, he said, I think that's a little extreme. That's all he says, man. Anyway, love you guys, man. Appreciate you what you do. Thanks for working hard. I know it's tough. And you guys put out the good stuff. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Glad
man.
you do, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, we'll be back with you in a second. Well, there you go, man. You got to talk to him.
That's pretty cool, man. Thank you. Yeah, I got more stuff to talk about than the next 12 minutes is going to offer probably. So I'm going to say what you probably already said. If people got questions, throw them out. I'm sitting in my kayak. So
All right.
yeah, I'm in the garage in the kayak. So if you got
show us the kayak.
I'll show you. If you want me to, I'll just tell you what I got for those that don't know. I have it's a Ascend 128T. Ain't nothing fancy. It's a $800 kayak. You're not going to be able to see it all from here, but $800. I mean, I got 5 kids and a wife, man. I can't go, my wife, marriage or kayak. That's kind of what it comes down to. So I can't spend $5,000 on a kayak right now. In fact, to work my wife into it, I asked her, could I get a boat? And she's like, how much it costs? I'm like, I don't know, 25, 30 grand. She's like, heck no. And I was like, let me get a kayak. And she's like, how much that costs? I was like $2,000. She's like, okay. So that kind of softened her up. But this kayak is super affordable. I like it. And the skinny on it is this. I have a review on my channel if you want to check it out. It is not that stable. Like if you watch some of my videos where Wesley Fail or some of those guys are in it, Jesse O'Neill, they're crazy, man. They'll stand up on their kayaks and walk from the bow to the stern and not fall in a river. And if you stand up in this kayak and do that, you're going in a drink. So I feel fairly confident in it, except for the video where I fell out a few months back.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I may or may not have nominated you for the bloopers for that.
Yeah, well, I would see why. It's pretty rough watching a 225-pound 6'4" guy fall in the water. But yeah, it's a reliable kayak. And I'll tell you a few things about it that I like. The stability I don't like, as I said before, but I've kayaked for a long time, so that didn't deter me. The price was enough at $800, but it has yak power on it, which if you don't know what that is, I'll try to show you without making stuff crazy. But down here, can you see that?
Yeah.
That's a little controller. And basically you can look it up, Yak Power online. It comes on board with this kayak and it has, 5 different switches. It comes pre-wired with a few plugs in it that are 12 volt. All you gotta do is put a little 12 volt, 7 amp hour battery in it or something. And you can, run stuff all over the boat on it, your sonar, stuff like that. So it's extremely convenient. I got a filming light that I use at night. It's basically just LEDs I wrapped around this guy and painted it with some clear Gorilla Glue just to give me some light at night when I'm fishing. I didn't get a chance to use it much this year, but that's one perk that I really like about this kayak is it's got the Yak Power on it. I would do that. I know people that use it on a boat, and I know people that install them on kayaks. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. I like it. And 2 other items that I like, and I'll just
Can you read that? Can you read that poll there?
Yeah. If you had to choose between marriage and a kayak, would you choose a Hobie or an Old Town? Hobie. If I had to choose. Yeah, man, that's funny. The things I love the most about my kayak, this is stupid, but this bait tray right here, That is my best friend in the whole world. It's right in front of me.
Okay.
And I love that thing. You can mount all your stuff to it. My sonar's on it. I got a little camera, phone holder here on it. I mean, it's just, you can mount anything to it, and it's great, especially in the winter time, man. Like when you got frozen bait or something where it's real hard, you can't cut it on nothing. You're trying to saw on your kayak or something. It's very convenient. I mean, I like it a lot. So yeah, those are the things I like about the kayak. It doesn't come on board with like ready, turnkey trolling motor stuff with the little cables out of the back. So I did a trolling motor install.
I saw that
back there, and I got a little PWM. I did a video on that, but I love this guy. I can turn it on and she starts humming back there. You probably can't see it, but
I can hear it.
My hammock. Yeah, it's that's been the bait tray and that and the yak power are probably my favorite things about this boat, but I had to put, all of it on except for the yak power. So those are my
I remember the video where you install it. That was pretty interesting. Like it was a little intricate, more intricate than I thought it would be.
It really is. It's kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest with you. And if you guys got any questions about it, it's probably more than we can answer in this show. You could probably watch my video, and I couldn't even hit everything in the video, but it's something where you got to research it a lot or you'll spend money and screw it up. So just ask me. And I'm an electrician and I'm a gear nerd, so I kind of got into it before I installed it, and I've made some modifications, but it's great. I love it.
When you put the trolling motor on, do you have to register it?
Yes, you do. And I said that in the video. In South Carolina, I don't know what the regulations are everywhere else, but if you have anything over, I think it's 5 or under 5 horsepower, you don't have to register the motor, but you have to register the kayak. So you got to get, that you have a trolling motor on it. So you don't have to register the trolling motor. You have to register the kayak and get numbers on it. And while we're on trolling motors, Kevin, I'll show you guys one of my other most favorite things that I just got recently. Is quite amazing if I can get to it here.
Yeah, Fishing Hippie says Danny, some states require registration for a motor. So
yeah, that's true. You got it. Yeah, you gotta. I don't know all the regulations, but you want to check into it because you probably won't get caught, but if you do, you probably don't want to pay what they're going to fine you. So, not cool. But last but not least, as far as my most favorite gear, that right there is amazing. That's a Dakota Lithium 12 volt 54 amp hour battery. They're amazing. Go check their stuff out. They last 4 times as long as lead acid, and they'll also get you a divorce if you buy more than one. So just be careful with that.
Man, you've been preaching about marriage here. Is everything all right? Don't answer.
Man, we good, man. I just mama's like, what's $500? It's a protection against nuclear holocausts. I just try to make up something, but she knows I'm full of crap. So.
Ryan Bortz said that's $1,000 battery.
It was.
Is it really?
They're half of that now. Half of that now. But you watch one of my last videos, I had like 4 inches of freeboard on my stern. So if I went over a 2-foot drop, my stern sunk down. I had water rushing over my deck. And I can keep the boat upright as long as my anchor doesn't catch and throw me into the water. I can keep it upright, no problem. It's just a little bit too much. It becomes a pretty heavy load to try to steer. It's like turning a battleship, man. You got to plan 8 moves ahead before you turn in it. So I'm gonna
say something, but don't take it the wrong way. All right. So someone was asking, I think Catman was asking about a kayak for big guys. You're not a fat guy, but you're like, people don't know you're really tall.
Yeah, I'm 6'4", 225.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so we wouldn't call you a small dude.
No, I'm not really small. I ain't a huge dude, but I'm not Jeff Anderson, big nasty.
No,
but
you're not a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
But you had in your last 2 videos, actually the camping ones, you had, of course, you in there, all your fishing gear and your camping gear, and we're still able to go through some minor rapids. So the canoe you have is I would say it's pretty buoyant and it does well.
It is, man. But I'll tell you, if I didn't have the trolling motor, I wouldn't have attempted to ferry in front of those log jams like I did. I knew my battery was still good, and I threw it on full power, and I was huffing, bro. I was pulling. And the boat was just too heavy. If I could have done it if the boat was lighter, much easier. But these aren't whitewater kayaks either. They're made for fishing, so they're not going to turn on a dime. You're not going to lean and pull, and it's not going to do that. So you just gotta practice with that on the easy water before you get somewhere where you're going to get in trouble or lose your gear.
You got to explain yourself, Lucy.
Explain myself. What does this mean, fishing with Big Nasty? Dude, if you karate chopped me, I would like fly across the room, man. But he's a big dude, man. Big Nasty's big. He's like 6'6", freaking stacked. He used to be a cop. He's just a big dude, man. He's a guy you want to be your friend.
There you go. Cool. Anybody have any questions for Brian before we let him go? Let's see. Someone, Daniel said, my voyage will be next week. My new cabin on my boats. I'm excited. All right, cool. And then I saw the Fishing Magician said, y'all are making me want to bust out my kayak for the cold winter weather. Might just be worth it.
Do it, man.
So, talk about your channel for a second. What you got planned next?
Yeah, man. I really want to do. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I really want to do. Like, I love what Spencer does. That's like my dream, to be able to go camp out and fish. And I did it on this last video. The time with family and kids and everything, I just can't find it yet. But I really love that. But this coming summer, I really want to target flatheads on the Catawba. I haven't done that a lot because I'm just greedy and blues are more plentiful. And I just go out there and I'm like, oh, it's just too easy to catch them. Flatheads is a little more patience involved, and I just got to put the blues stuff aside while I'm doing it generally. But I really want to target flatheads in the summer. And honestly, man, I've put at least, I have to guess, I think probably 10 to 12 fish that were 45 pounds plus back in the three years I fished the Catawba hard. I put all of them back there, trophies, but I'm like, where are the 100-pounders and the Catawba? That's what drives me nuts right now. So I'm on the hunt. I'd love to, I don't even care if he flips me over. I'd be all good with it if I could just hook one. And yeah, I'm really trying to find that big trophy and the Catawba.
You and me too, man.
I feel like they're there.
Last question. What's the biggest fish you've landed in your kayak?
Biggest fish I landed in my kayak, believe it or not, was I can't really tell. It wasn't. I think the fish a couple videos back in my kayak was more a solid 50 plus than that one I thought was a 50 plus last time. I think he was more top 40 class, something like that. But they always feel huge in the kayak. You go back and look at the video, you're like deflated. But it was still a nice, really nice fish. But he was right at 50 or pushing it. But I think that won a couple videos before. I forgot what it was called. I can't remember now, but that was probably one of the biggest fish I've landed in the kayak. But that last one on my camping trip was probably the most epic fight I've ever had in a kayak. It was a blast, man.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, I appreciate your time. I know you're busy. You've mentioned your marriage a couple times and all of your 1,000 kids. So
I ain't got 1,000. It feels like it sometimes.
Well, I just thank you, man. It's a blessing to have you on the show again. This is your second time on, and I want to wish you best of luck in your channel. It's growing, man. You'll be to 1,000 before you know it.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. And before I go, anybody got any questions? Feel free to hit me up on Facebook Messenger, Flint Hill Catfishing, or hit my videos, leave a comment or something, and I may or may not be able to help, but I'll be glad to try. So,
yeah, his link is in the description if you want to go check him out.
Thanks.
All right, man. Have a good night. God bless.
Peace.
All right. My YouTube channel of the week is not a fishing channel, but it is something that I think some of you might enjoy. My wife and I watch this channel all the time. It's a family show, so it's appropriate for all of your 1,000 kids, Brian. But it's called Lumna Acres. Basically, they're up in the Jersey area, and they have a 5-acre farm, and they talk about modern sustainability and being self-sufficient as much as you can. So go check them out if you looking for a new channel to watch, or maybe you've already seen them before. Those of you who've seen them, it's a great channel. The link is in the description. Go check it out. All right, Danny Ransom, Float Fish Adventure. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Thanks
it's a
for
pleasure
having
to
me.
have you on the show. Yeah, nah, it's my pleasure to have you on.
So
how long you been kayak fishing, man?
A minute. So I mean, for a while now, right? It's probably 7 years, I think. So
Wow.
a little bit, and I mean, I think it's really cool. You know, it's really cool that there are so many guys doing it now, fishing for catfish. You know, and when I hear people come on and say that they've been watching for a long time, I think that's super cool because when I started doing it, I mean, Spencer and I, we basically started hanging out because we were the only two people in the area fishing for catfish out of a kayak at all. And like Justin Johnston was just about the only other person I knew who was doing it seriously. I mean, there just wasn't very many of us. So I think that we just got into it a little earlier than everybody. So, you know, I think it's super cool that it's just grown the way it has, and that so many people, you know, are getting to experience just how much fun it is.
Well, I don't think that, like, I never would have thought it was possible. You know, I always thought about kayaks as something you paddle down a rapid with, or
right,
go out, on a sunset little paddle with your friend. I never saw it as a fishing vessel.
Yeah, I was a bank fisherman, you know, and honestly, I did a lot of like bass fishing, farm ponds and stuff. That's what I grew up doing. And my youngest son was my little fishing buddy, and he's the one who sold me. He's like, Dad, we got to get kayaks to fish. I'm like, that sounds like a terrible idea. No, right? And he was like researching on YouTube. He's like, no, they make kayaks that are for fishing, you know, and he kind of sold me on the idea. And so like right out of the gate, I had to get 2 of everything, which is not cheap. I mean, it's not, you know, it's when you have to get everything at once, it's kind of expensive to get into. I mean, it can be. And when you got to get 2 of everything, then that adds up quick. So we were real entry level on everything. And, but yeah, and fishing for bass and stuff. But like the first time I started fishing for catfish and I caught a few channel cats, I was like, this is where it's at. These pull you around. I mean, a 5-pound channel cat will pull you around a little bit, you know? So that was the beginning of the love affair right there.
Awesome. Well, what do you got to show us tonight?
Well, so what are you interested in, right? I mean, people who maybe are interested in doing it. My setup is fairly, it depends. There's a lot of, it depends, you know, and it's been, my system has been put together over time. I'm fishing out of a Wilderness Systems Attack 120, which I love. I used to fish out of I started out with a little 10-foot Ascend, and then I went to a Jackson Kilroy, which I liked, but I didn't love. And then I moved to, I got hooked up with Wilderness Systems and then went to an Attack 120, and I've been fishing out of that the last couple of years. And man, I love that boat. I love it. But like what I bring with me or what gear I'm using, I mean, there's a whole lot of it. Really just depends, you know, on where I'm going and if I'm targeting, if I'm on the river, if I'm on a reservoir. So, I mean, I can.
Yeah. So like, I guess, I'm really interested. I don't know why that popped up there. I'm really interested in like, I was trying to show it, but it went to the website. I like gear, and I like, hardware and how does stuff mount and how does stuff move around. And I'm all about making my life easier out on my boat, so I'll find ways and things of doing things that maybe other people have done, but I've tailored to my needs.
Yep,
that sort of thing.
That's the kayaks, man. That's everybody's kayak. I used to own a Jeep Wrangler, right? And the Jeep Wrangler thing is the same deal. Everybody's is personalized, the customized to them, or like guys with Harleys, it's the same way. It's you get one and then you really start to dial it in and it becomes yours. And it's not like anybody else's because you've made it so that it's just an extension of you. And, when it's fun to toy and tinker with and always fiddle. But at the same time, once you start to get stuff dialed in, it's a really good feeling, you know. So I have I use a lot of the Railblazer mounts, and they're ports, right? So like I have track mounts, and you know most everything the accessories you can buy for the kayaks will mount on track mounts. So I have track mounts on the kayak, but then I also have Railblazer ports.
Now slow down and say that Railblazer.
Railblazer. Blazer, right?
Because I just looked it up and I typed in Railblazer, and I wasn't hip enough to say it the right way.
Be hip. The ports are nice because everything fits into them, right? So you can swap out one piece of one kind of accessory for another. I have the standards. I have rod holders in the front, in front of me and behind me, and then I have 6 rod holders total, and I have 2 that are in the back that are just for like travel, when I'm paddling around or whatnot. And if I'm carrying, I mean, sometimes I'm kind of feeling myself, and I'll carry way more rods than I need to.
Yeah.
You know how it is, right?
Yeah.
It's so I've got the rod holders, and then. And it just depends, right? So like if the most important pieces of equipment to me, in my opinion, for reservoir fishing, I mean, you got to have sonar. I like to drift, right?
Okay.
You got to have sonar because you got to be able to know what your speed is, and drift socks, right? I make my own drift socks, and I carry 4 with me.
Tell us about that. That seems interesting. So a lot of boat cat fishermen use drift socks, but I think we're thinking about different things.
No, the same thing, right? So, but it's like in the boat, you'll get those great big ones a lot of times, and I've got one great big one that I carry with me in case of like monsoon winds. But I also I've got a video out about how I make mine. Mine cost like $1.50 to make, right? Basically,
wow.
Those. I went to Menards and I got the reusable sacks, the bags that they sell there, and they work perfect because they're kind of mesh. And I use those, and they've got a little weight on one side and a little float on the other, one piece of pool noodle, and I drag them out the side of the kayak, right? And I put one in the front, one in the back, and I drift sideways because in a kayak, when the wind is blowing, it's never going to want to face you. It's always going to want to turn you sideways. So I try not to fight nature, right? And when you're in a kayak and you're trying to fight nature, then it's not fun. It's not fun. Nature will always win. So I do whatever I can to try and work with nature. So I drift sideways. I use a couple, usually, honestly, 2 of those little drift socks. Usually all I ever need. If it gets bad, I'll double up and run 4. But yeah, being able to control your speed is critical, right? So that's really one of the trickiest things with the kayak is positioning. That's the thing that people struggle with when they first start, I think, is that you're paddling, and then you've got you're all condensed in your space, and then okay, now I'm trying to do everything I need to do. It seems like I need 3 hands or more. And it takes a little getting used to, but the chaos is part of the fun, man.
So you had a question. Do you ever fish for carp out of a kayak?
Yes. And this year I haven't done it really so much, but I do every once in a while. They're pretty fun to catch, and they're nice because my buddy Tim likes to say they're not only are they everywhere, but if you lose one next to the kayak, you won't need therapy later, right?
Choke me up for a second. Oh man, and then you had by the way, Chris Flores, Muddy River Catfishing, said he loves your videos.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I've been watching yours for a long time, man.
Let's see. Ryan said, I wanted to make them for mine, but you can't do them because of this covey they have. for no reasonable bags. I'm not sure what it.
Oh, because
COVID.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. They're probably not selling the reusable bags right now because you're not supposed to be bringing them into the stores.
I got you. So he made COVID. Okay, cool.
You might be able to order them on Amazon.
True.
They might be more than $1, but
yeah. Ryan Bortz says kayak guys love pool noodles. They are the new duct tape. You want to tell me why he says that?
That's a fact. I got yeah. There's also I've never there's these pool noodles are cheap. I better just grab some, right? I'll find a use for them.
You just have so like when you were bass fishing out of a kayak. In case there's any people that want to bass fish out of one, do you what is the point of putting? Is it just for flotation? Putting a pool noodle around your net?
Oh yeah, it is. It is just right. You can actually then. You can drop the net in the water and it's not going to sink. Yeah.
Luke Blackman said, any advice on like suits for guys first starting out? I'm trying to figure out what that says from context. Like any advice for guys?
Yeah. So fishing in the winters, he's talking about cold weather. Yeah. So,
okay.
Right. I mean, not to harp, right, or sound like trying to be somebody's dad, but I mean, cold water will kill you.
Mm.
It will, right? And so if you're going to fish, and this is a problem. It's something that we point out. We kind of talk about a lot in the spring because every spring, I mean, kayak is blowing up. It's getting really popular. And every spring we have a whole new batch of guys who are really eager. They got a new kayak. They want to get out, and it's the first day that's 70 degrees out and the water's like 50, right. and that water's really, really dangerous. So it's important to be able to stay dry, right? So I have for cold water, I mean, I have waders, right? And I have a paddle jacket that goes on over the top. And then depending on how cold it is, I mean, my waders, I can actually put thermals on, like my bibs will fit underneath the waders. The main thing is you want to stay dry, right? You got to be able to stay dry, and you don't want to have anything that's cotton, because anything that's cotton gets wet, it pulls the heat out of your body, right? Stuff like wool, even if it gets wet, it won't suck the heat from your body. It still retains your body heat. So you want to be able to stay dry. And worst case scenario, if you go in the water, you want something that is not going to allow water to, that's not going to allow water to come rushing in. Like I said, you just don't want a hoodie on for your top. That's a bad idea.
So I've been actually looking at cold weather gear, and there seems like there's no way to get around paying a bunch of money for it. Do you know anything that is reasonable price that maybe in more temperate climates we could get away with?
The most reasonable thing that you're going to find to get away with is going to be a set of breathable waders and a paddle jacket, and you're probably still looking at $300.
Wow.
I mean by the time you're done. But I mean, there are also like full like dry suits that are legit dry suits that you'd be completely safe, but those are grand. I mean, you're spending a lot of money, and it on the one hand, I mean, you got to think about, well, how often am I going to use it? But on the other hand, you also got to think about, well, if I'm going to go out in cold weather, how important is it to me and my family that I come home?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the area where you want to get cheap.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're going to be able to stay dry. That's the key.
Right. So one last question for you, and this is just something I've always wondered. Do you prefer a shorter rod fishing out of a kayak, or just the standard like 7'6"?
Yep. The 7.5 is my favorite length, right? Shorter rods, it's important to be able to get around the bow, right? So if you got a fish that's a good fish and it's making a run under your kayak, you don't want to have to reach over because you can't get around. If you can get around the bow, then it's much easier to deal with. So, and then longer than that, I know Spencer likes some of the longer rods too, but I don't like them much longer, because then you get into a situation where, I mean, it can already be kind of a cluster sometimes, trying to high stick with one hand and get to the fish with the other. And, you know, I'm 5'6". I don't have the range to go with a 9-foot rod and still. So that's 7.6 is my ideal length for me, for sure.
Yeah, I know that, like, and I know you don't use Slime Cat, but I know that they're making like a 5'6" rod, or and I've heard, and y'all don't burn me up in chat if I'm wrong, but that was centered towards, you know, smaller people, obviously, but then kayak fishermen as well. Would you ever see yourself using a rod that small in a kayak?
So my first instinct is no. But then again, I mean, you know, we've got our little whisker stick rod. It's the ice fishing rod that's 38 inches. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fun to catch fish with, you know. But I mean, there is something to be said. Some guys like the shorter butts with the kayak, right? Because they don't want to put it under their arm. They want to put it in their you know, in their belly. And the shorter butt is a little better for that if you want to do it out of the kayak. I like to run the butt under my arm, so it does, you know, a little longer butt doesn't bother me so much. So, but I definitely want to be able to reach out around the front of the bow. Anything that's too short for that, I would not want to try and target large fish with.
Gotcha. All right. Any last comments for maybe people who are beginners?
Get out and catch one, right? If you're on the fence, you're not sure, man. It's so different than a boat. And I joke, I say that when I bought a kayak, it ruined me for boat fishing. And you know, you can run around and do a whole lot more, cover a whole lot more water with a boat. But man, catching a you know, even like a 15-pound fish right on the edge of the water it's a whole different kind of thrill. It's something everybody should get to do at least once, for sure.
Awesome. Hey, y'all, if y'all haven't checked out Flow Fish Adventure, Danny Ransom on YouTube, you're missing out. Catches some awesome fish and does it in an epic way, I will say.
Glorious train wreck when I catch one.
Well, y'all, his link's in the description. Go check him out. Thanks again, Danny. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
You too, man.
All right, he's been on the show once or twice before, and we're gonna bring him back again, Mr. Spencer Bauer with River Certified. How you doing, man?
Pretty swell. How are you?
Good. Look at your setup, man. You're getting all sophisticated on me.
Well, I'm hoping. Well, actually, there's no hope. I'm gonna start a podcast coming up, so I've been having this stored up, and I thought, what better time to bust out the mic and the headset and test it out and make sure it works. Like, this is a good time for that.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a I don't know, a staticky thing to it, but you know, not terrible.
It's just like me. Like, it's kind of a work in progress.
Hey, so rumor has it Whisker Seeker's coming out with a medium action rod. Can you comment?
All I can say is I've tested some prototype rods, and they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, like, we've seen one. We've seen Luke testing one too.
They're very multi-dimensional. They do a lot of really good things, and I'm excited to hear from other people. Actually, I like them a lot. We'll just say.
Cool. Well, I know there's at least two people in the chat that would be excited to hear about that. And then before we get started on the kayaks, you already got questions. Muddy River Catfishing. Chris said, "Hey Spencer, when you go catfishing, what's the one thing you never leave home without?"
Well, it's tough to break it down to one thing because I have kind of like a checklist. I used to have an actual checklist, and now it's kind of a mental checklist. But I guess if there's one thing I'd turn around for that I couldn't make it without, like in June, a thermocell, because
There you go.
like I won't leave. If I'm hungry, I'm not going home. If I'm thirsty, I'm not going home. But if there's a bunch of skeeters just eating me alive, I'll go home.
Well, all you got to do is take me with you, and they won't bite you; they'll bite me.
Yeah, well, it's
That's
good
what
to
my
know.
wife does.
All right, you're invited.
All right. So, we've talked about a bunch, but I'm sure you have some more to add. What do you have to share with us tonight?
Nothing, and that's kind of the whole point. Like, all right. So hear me out. Like everybody has these ideas, and everybody's has all this stuff that you got to bring, blah 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 blah. And when it comes to kayak fishing, I'm like less is more, and not just kind of more, like way more. The more friction, the more stuff you bring, like the more friction it is to get on the water. So for my kayak, when I'm going, it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on, but I got one bag, I got a bait tank, and when I get to the water, all I do is hook up a fish finder, put my rod holders in the rod holder bases, maybe they might already be there, and then throw my rods in, throw my bag in, throw my bait tank in, and I'm on the water. And ironically, I'm glad Denny came up before me so he couldn't follow up with this comment, but I'm always sitting and waiting for Denny to get ready to get on the water. Actually, you can bring him back on if he's still on. I kind of want to hear what he has to say.
I'm usually waiting for Spencer to show up, right?
And you're a liar. Oh, that's not a lie. That's not a lie at all.
It used to take me a lot longer. That's true.
I'm the chronically late guy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I figured you were in education, man. You'd be on, early is on time is late.
Well, I'm on time to school, and that just makes me late to everything else.
They pay you. That's why.
That does make a difference. Denny doesn't pay me anything.
No, Chris said that was your question from the Catfish conference last year, so I guess he was just throwing it back at you. What's the one thing you never leave home without?
Oh yeah. It's hard to remember back that far.
Yeah. So what you fish out of a new canoe, correct?
Absolutely.
What do you think about it?
I mean, there's a lot of good things going on for it. To me, the two big things are number one, stability. And it's not that I necessarily need a super stable kayak. Like I've paddled a bajillion different kayaks, from a new canoe down to an ocean kayak Scrambler 11 that's 29 inches wide, like everything in between. And one thing I've learned, it's nice to have a stable kayak because you don't have to think about it then. You like to keep yourself centered up and not worried about falling in or tipping over is just nice, And then the other thing is they're stable, but they're not ridiculously heavy. So a lot of the places like me and Denny fish, I want to take my kayak to places without a boat ramp. So to have a light kayak that you can drag up and down the bank, 10, 20 pounds makes a big difference. And I'm not tiny. I'm not giant. I'm like 6 foot, 210, and I love lifting weights. I love being strong. And with all that being said, I like a 60-pound kayak for dragging up and down the mud banks, especially if you fished 8 hours and then you get back and all you're thinking about is the pizza you're going to order and then the 6 beers you're going to drink when you get home. Like,
you're a lot heavier at the end of the trip. That's
absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. Like the last 2 hours of the trip, all I hear from Denny is like, "Man, I can't wait to eat that pizza when I get home." I'm like, I'm with you, man.
Yeah, I've seen you in some of your older videos. Maybe Denny was in one of those where y'all were dragging kayak through the woods.
Oh, probably. I mean, old, new, not that part hasn't changed.
Right.
So Rock Bottom Cat said, Spencer sold me and my buddy on the new canoe when we upgraded ours. So you were an inspiration.
They're a great boat, and I mean, I've had boats. I bought another boat. I'm going to have a boat this spring, and I'm not selling my kayak. Like, there's a lot of great places that you can take a kayak. You can't take any boat. And depending on how you want to use it, they can absolutely function just like a boat and put you on fish that a boat can put you on.
Fishing Magician says, "Hey, what you got against the Scrambler 11?" I'm not sure what that is.
I don't have a thing against it. It's just narrow. Like when I first got into kayak fishing, it was to run shark baits off the beach down on South Padre, and that was the first kayak I ever hopped in. Was a Scrambler. Actually, it was an Ocean Kayak Scrambler 12, and then my buddy bought the 11 with like the extended skeg, and I just gave him a hard time because when you paddle back, well, when you paddle back in with that big skeg on the back, and you got 5-6 foot waves behind you, they catch that skeg, and then you're all of a sudden, you know, I don't know if you've ever, well, you probably haven't. I don't know if anybody listening's ever surfed a wave, a 5-6 foot wave in a kayak, but you get turned sideways, and you better be on the ball because you're going for a ride.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Danny, for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Let's see. I hear myself in the background. All right. I don't have any questions, but oh, here we go. You never show up late for fishing. Isn't that the golden rule somewhere?
Probably should be. I mean, but I don't know. I have no response to that. Like, you're probably right. I'm not perfect. I try my best.
Always some bodily function is part of the excuse.
You're right. Had to
poop. So what's the best rod holders, Spencer?
I don't know if there's a best. Like, there's honestly a million, and all of them have their upsides and downsides. Like, I'm a fan of the what are they, graphite or plastic or whatever you want to call them, because the Scotties, the Stealth. I use Stealth. I like how compact they are, and
yeah, we're talking about rod holders for kayaks. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm sure you knew what I meant.
Yep. Well, I was going to get to that. Like, Monster rod holders and Fish Bites rod holders are excellent for boats. I'm not a huge fan of them from a kayak because they're not adjustable. Like, once you have them set up in a spot, they're kind of just there. And they're awesome rod holders. It's just the fact that they're stuck in one spot is a deal breaker for me. And then with the plastic ones, you can angle them because, like Denny was talking about earlier, positioning your kayak's the biggest thing. Well, I'd rather set up my kayak in a way that's best for the scenario and then adjust my rod holders accordingly so I can position my rods accordingly. And Scotties and Stealth rod holders make that really easy, whereas the Monster rod holders are super durable. Don't get me wrong, and they're gonna. I mean, there's no fish that's gonna break those, especially out of a kayak.
Right.
It's harder to angle them and adjust them accordingly based on your kayak position, and I don't know.
But weight is an issue too, right? I mean, the Monster rod holders. I have the Monsters on my boat, and they're robust, which is what I want them to be.
Yeah, but we're talking about, like, I mean, the difference is minimal. You know, you put 4 Monsters on your kayak, and you're talking like 6 to 8 pounds, maybe not even that much. Probably not even that much. So it's minimal. You know, like all those other things that a lot of guys take add up way more than that.
Gotcha. So some people were talking about pedal drives, and I kind of wanted to bring that up. So, you know, you got your Mirage drive, your pedal drive, you have your actual oars, and then you had some kind of contraption on there earlier this year, and I guess you broke the prop on it and you stopped using it. So, you know, there's a lot of guys, from what I hear, that are really like naturalist kayakers that say you shouldn't put a motor on your boat. So since I got both of you up, what do y'all think about that?
What do you think about that, Danny?
I think that whatever makes you like enjoy the experience the most is what you should do. Because if you're worrying about what other people are thinking when you're out fishing, your head's not in the right spot.
Amen. Like, then I just said that for you to go just so I could compliment how awesome you are. Like, for real, you know, at the end of the day, if you're having fun doing what you're doing, who gives a crap what anyone else thinks? And that's where I'm at. And then the other side of it is whatever puts the fish in the boat. You know, if I can put a motor on the back of my kayak and get to places where I wouldn't be able to otherwise, or I could get there, but it would suck so bad that I'm not enjoying myself, then to me, it's just not worth it. So I'll throw a motor.
I
Go
think
ahead.
that the one thing about the kayaks, like in general, it really, like everything has a trade-off in a kayak, pretty much, and I mean, with the motor, there's total upsides and then there's downsides, right? I mean, it's you and that's why there's a lot of experimenting with kayak to find out what you're happy with, because you think about the upsides when you when you were trying to install something or you have a great idea and then you get on the water with it and then you discover the downsides, and then you got to weigh out, well, did this make it more fun? Was it better for fishing? Did it, and there's a lot of times where I think all of us with the kayaks, we've had a great idea that was a great idea on paper and not such a great idea on the water, and you figure it out.
Yeah, the motor, one side of it is you have to mount it every time you go fishing, which means you got to haul it up and down a ramp every time you go fishing. Or if you don't have a ramp, you got to take it from your vehicle to your kayak, which is a pain in the butt. And then once it's on the water, if you run into issues like what I was talking about, I ran it in 3 trips that I ran it on the waters that I run it. I busted the prop on it 2 out of 3 times, and then all of a sudden you're on the water and you have this big piece of machinery on the back of your kayak that don't do you nothing but weigh you down. So, I mean, in some bodies of water, it'd probably be absolutely excellent. It's just small streams full of rocks, full of logs. It didn't get the job done very well. So I still got it.
Spencer, I agree with both of you 100%. The motor is one of the best things for the way I fish on a particular river that has deep water and heavy current. It helps me I don't want to paddle back upstream to get back to my car. So that was the main reason I bought it. I actually, go upstream first, and I have to go through some pretty heavy current where I actually have to paddle, and the motor's an assist. But it's a huge burden when I want to just slide the kayak in and get somewhere else. I really, to solve the problem, I'm probably going to get another kayak next year that's small, that I put a few rod holders on, and I can just put in and just go. So that's my...
Yeah, and we kind of answered this, Joel Haley. He asked if shorter rods have leverage you need for trophies. I think all 3 of these guys have caught trophy class catfish on 7'6" rods. Is that correct?
Yeah, I prefer the longer rods. You have a fish like what Denny was talking about earlier. If it runs around the front or back of your kayak, you have a long enough rod to run around either direction. But I mean, I caught 2 flatheads in the 35 to 45 pound range on the ice rods this year. And it's absolutely doable, and it's a whole lot of fun. It's just like what makes you happy at the end of the day.
I don't know how you would get the fish you guys catch in 8 to 10 foot of water or whatever right underneath your boat. I use like a 5'7" slime cat. Sometimes I've just been experimenting with them for the last 3 months or whatever. They're awesome, but I don't know if it would have enough at a medium heavy. I don't know if it would have enough to get it up. Yeah. And it definitely wouldn't get around the bow unless you were my height. But I don't know how you would do it with that drag lock down. I just don't know if that rod's got enough rear end. That's nothing against slime cat. I just don't know if that particular medium heavy at 5'7" would get a 60-pound flathead up out of the wood.
I bet it would. You just put the screws to it, man. It'll be fine.
If I was you or you.
You just fish with way too heavy a braid.
Yes. 85 all day.
You can pull up a tree stump with the 85-pound braid.
Well, that's what I put on those ice rods.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah. Like I don't like the owner Whisker Seeker. Well, I don't know. I'll tell you this. He's like he thinks they're unbreakable. And I said, I'm going to break one. And I haven't broke one yet. But I keep trying anyway.
No, say Whisker Seeker as much as you want.
Whisker Seeker's awesome. Like they're honestly a super awesome company. They do super awesome things. And they keep everybody in mind. Like every piece of feedback. They're aware of it. They know about it. And they're doing their best to take care of it, trying to make everything better all the time, which is awesome. really like about them, on top of like the rods. Everybody has their own opinion on fishing rods, and what's best. And at the end of the day, it's what you enjoy the most. Kind of like the motor, the motors helps you catch more fish and makes your experience more enjoyable. And if it does, that's the best thing for you. The rods, for me, Whisker Seeker is the best rod for me. It's light and it's powerful, and that makes the fishing experience way more enjoyable.
Creo catfishing, what are some safety measures or tricks that are good ideas in boats but bad or dangerous in kayaks? That's a good question.
It is.
You
a good
didn't
question.
think you didn't think you were going to have to think tonight. You thought you were just going to breeze by.
Well, I don't think a whole lot in general to begin with. But safety measure tricks, I guess the biggest one is probably visibility. Like in a boat, you don't really think about other getting ran over by another boat, but in a kayak, it's a real possibility, especially on bigger water. And I'm fortunate, and I guess Denny, same boat, where we're fishing bodies of water where it's not really a major issue. But if you're down in North Carolina fishing like the Catawba, or you're on Kerr, or if you're down on the Tennessee River on any of those big impoundments, you have every right to be there, and nobody owns the water, so nobody can tell you not to be there. But with that being said, it's really, really smart to, make yourself as visible as possible. Big kayaks are a pain in the butt for me on the small bodies of water I'm on, but in those Tennessee River impoundments, those North Carolina impoundments, a big kayak sticks out more. It's not a bad idea to have a bright colored kayak. It's not a bad idea to have a big flag, and you can do whatever flag you want too, is the fun part. You can do a big American flag, you can have fun with it, Jolly Roger, whatever, but it makes you more visible, and it's fewer things to worry about.
All right.
It's kind of like being a pedestrian.
Yes.
Like you do have the right of way and a crosswalk, but their car's a whole lot bigger than you, so you're not going to win.
That's
a good analogy.
Right.
So we all know that Brian has flipped a kayak. Have either of you flipped a kayak?
No comment.
And I feel so much better now.
I flipped a kayak running a shark bait, and I dropped the shark bait and was on the way back in, and I was in the Florida Panhandle, and we had a 6 to 8 foot shore break, and it launched me on the beach. Like, I can't think of any analogy for that. I just got launched catapult. Like I got catapulted on the beach, and it would just happen to be where my timing was bad and the wave's time was right. But It was pretty ugly. I was all scratched up and stuff.
What about you, Danny? No comment?
No, I've fortunate so far. Yeah, so far I've seen guys. We were fishing one time, and a guy floated past us, me and another buddy, and a guy floated past us in his kayak, and he sort of looked new, right? And he anchored up right off the seam on the current, and I'm like, that's not a good idea, right? And then me and my buddy left and went to fish downstream a bit, and I just turned around to look at something, and I was looking, and this guy he got bit, and a fish ran under the kayak and dumped him, and all his stuff was floating by us, and I had to paddle upstream, and he had a sit in, and he was swamped, and he was struggling, so we paddled up and sort of helped him get his gear together and stuff. But if you're new, it's a really good idea to not go out solo. I mean, just until you really have an idea of do you know what your skill set is and what your limitations are.
Especially on a big body of water. Like maybe try on a little pond or something, right?
Right.
Hey Kevin, I'd like to ask Kevin and Denny both. Like I've whitewater kayaked for almost 2 decades when I lived in DC, so I had a lot of whitewater experience, but I hadn't anchored a lot fishing, and to me that's the most vulnerable time, and that's what I try to tell people that ask me questions about what would you guys say about anchoring. Like you just said, anchoring on a seam. I anchor in some sketchy places, but I'm confident, and it bit me in the summertime. I wouldn't do that in the winter the way I anchored in the summer and flipped, but just love to hear what you guys got to say about it.
And thanks, Danny, for another super sticker. I appreciate it.
Spencer, you want to take that one?
As far as the anchoring, I think anchoring's fine in a lake or reservoir, but once you get into moving water, everything all of a sudden becomes in question. And then you also have the complication on top of the sway, which makes it tough to effectively fish. So for me, um, in small streams, our rivers have a pretty steady flow, even in lower water. So I don't ever anchor at all in those, especially in high water. But like it's just an unwritten rule with me where I don't even bring an anchor when I'm floating streams. I have a stake that I shove in the bank, and then
That clip, right?
well, I have a clip to clip off the brush, but then I also have like a pin that I shove in the bank and then run through a zigzag cleat on my kayak. And then basically I'm just an extension of the shore. And that's where those longer rods, like Denny says he doesn't like to use a 9.5-foot rod off a kayak, but I'm lucky that I have pretty go-go gadget arms. I'm 6 foot tall, but I have about a 6.5-foot wingspan, so that helps with reaching fish. And I'll use those 9.5-foot rods to help position my baits, even though I'm off the bank. And it's kind of hit or miss whether I bring them. I just kind of judge based off of where we're going and what we're doing, whether I bring them or not. But I'll do that, or I'll bring a brush clips and clip off the brush, either in the brush pile I'm fishing or out ahead of the brush pile I'm fishing. And all of that basically is because of some bad. I mean, all good ideas come as a result of bad ideas. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. And mine, there was a time where when I first came back to Iowa, after because I started kayak fishing down on the Gulf Coast, came back to Iowa, had a kayak, did some kayak fishing, and I just threw an anchor out like I was fishing in the ocean. And this was when the flow was real high, and it pulled my front end of my kayak down, and I had to reach down and like get the clip unclipped, and had my head underwater, and it was not. I was shaking by the time I was done. It was not pleasant. So I don't recommend anchoring in current. Every kayak's different. Every person in the kayak is different. Just because it worked for someone doesn't mean it'll work for you. And just because it doesn't work for someone doesn't mean it will work for you. But I'm a big fan of playing it safe.
I tell you, I fish on Kevin and guys. The Catawba in general is really deep. Like it's a straight drop off on the side. So like having a push pole or something I can slam down through an anchor trolley, it's not really a viable option. And the brush is thick and the bank is high, so it's really hard to cast if I get up there. I try to do it when I can. But saying all that, I agree with I kind of related what Denny said earlier about like assess your skill level, look at the winter gear you're doing and stuff. You really need to do it with a little bit of gear, a one rod or something in the summertime where there's low consequence if you're going to try it, because man, if you're going to flip a kayak, I mean, in my opinion, that's when it's going to happen generally, is either a fish, like you said, Denny, that goes under your boat and your drag's locked down, he flips you over, or when you're anchored, especially. So I don't do it at all in the winter. I'll get up near the bank and I throw a much lighter anchor now. It's like a window weight. It's just like a long bullet, and I throw it out and it's just drag more than anything. And that's what I use now. But it's just sketchy in the winter, in my opinion, to even try it. And you'll lose your gear in the summer, but in the winter you'll lose your life.
Yeah, cold water and bad weather. I mean, those are not the times to be experimenting with yourself in sketchy situations by any means.
Yeah. So what graphs do you guys use? Spencer? What graph?
I use a Humminbird Helix 5, and I use just a down imaging unit. I used to have a side imaging one, but honestly, out of a kayak, the side imaging view is pretty trash. Just when you're paddling. Maybe if you had a pedal kayak and you can go in a straight line, it'd help. But when you paddle, it wags, so your image is distorted from that way. But the down imaging is crystal clear. Now, the boat that I bought, I'm leaning towards Garmin with the hope to throw Panoptics on it eventually. So, and then I went out with a buddy of mine, Dave. He runs a guide service local here. Uh, it's called Chasing Cats. If anyone's local and wants to go out and go slam some channel cats, drifting and trolling it, it's pretty dang fun. But he's running Garmin now, and I got to see that unit firsthand, and it's pretty awesome. I wouldn't recommend it for kayaks though because it's touchscreen. So you're always kind of wet in a kayak. You're never totally dry. And if your hands have any water on them at all, touchscreen doesn't work very well. And that's what I like about the
Good
Helix.
point.
It's all, you have buttons on the sides, and it's not an issue out of a kayak. Like in a boat, touchscreen's great. Out of a kayak, touchscreen kind of sucks.
Denny?
Yeah, I got a Helix 5, and it's got side imaging, and I never used it because it's not it's not helpful really in any way in the kayak.
There you go, y'all. Save the money. Side imaging on a kayak's trash. How about you, Brian?
Facts.
I got like the hood rat for 3, but I'm using it for structure mostly, and I kind of just am ADD, so I'm all over the place generally when I'm on the water. I probably wouldn't pay attention if it had the details I needed. So, yeah, it does the job for me.
All you really need is depth. Like, honestly, it's nice to know how deep it is. The only time you need anything else is if you're drifting or trolling for blue cats or channel cats. It's really good to know your speed.
Yep.
Down imaging's cool, not necessary, but the speed and depth.
Yeah.
I use it on the lake a lot. That's when it helps me with its speed, like you said, and depth.
Well, there's a fellow Iowan, a fan, and his daughter Lauren says that Spencer catches more fish than the rest of these guys. River certified super fan status.
Right.
Lauren's my hero.
Oh man, cool. Well, yeah, I thank you for being on the show. I'm gonna ask you all three one more question, and if Ryan was, maybe he can put in the chat what his plans are. What are you gonna do for holiday fishing plans? Anything on the books for you guys, Brian?
I'm trying to get out bank fishing some. I love winter bank fishing. Just build a fire and catch a small one and eat them. And I'm kind of with you on that one, Spencer. I like eating them. And I'd love to get out on the kayak and do some. This will be the first winter where I've had a kayak big enough. I was in a Perception Swifty before, so it's kind of sketchy in the winter. I really get out in this kayak and do go down to Catawba a little further in detail and try to get on some trophies.
Holiday fishing plans, Denny? Anything?
So traditionally, I usually go fishing on Black Friday. So I'm going to try and get out and get on the water somewhere doing something, even if it's local. But I definitely want to try and at least get out and get in one more good blue cat fishing trip here before I'm looking at hard water. So at least once. So we'll see.
Awesome. Spencer, got a camping trip in mind?
No camping trips currently. I really wanted to do a river float kayak camping trip for walleyes, but the walleye fishing has been less than stellar. So I'll probably go hit a local reservoir. And I was literally just looking at the weather when you asked me my plans, and so I had to go look at the weather to figure out what my plans were. But it looks like there's decent weather, so I'll probably try and hit the mud flats on a local river. And then, Denny, let me know what your plans are as far as the Blue Cat trip, and I'll help you cover gas.
Spencer, you keep referencing speed. What's your ideal speed?
I'm assuming he's talking about Blue Cats, and it's just the universal. You keep it around 0.5, and good things will happen. And sometimes you got to go a little slower. I like to go slower. Some people say you can go 0.8 mile an hour. I'm not a fan of that. And then also seems like the big fish. The slower you go, the bigger fish you run across. Maybe you'll catch more if you go faster, but I'm
Man,
not.
I need to slow down.
Well,
No, I'm
I'm
just kidding.
maybe.
I'm
Who
I'm
knows?
just kidding. I've
Maybe
been
you're
searching
right.
for a big fish.
It seems like, and I'm flathead guy at heart, and I'll give up numbers for quality every single day. It seems like the big fish hit when you're like 0.5 or below. Even if it's hot out, water temp could be 80. It seems like 0.5 or below is where I see my big fish, and I go fast and I get little guys.
Do any of you throw a net from your kayak?
Not if I can help it. I mean, if I can throw it off the bank, I'm gonna throw it off the bank. But
It's
if they're not
frightening.
on the bank, well, I wouldn't call it frightening. It's just like not enjoyable. You know, it's all about having fun, and if I can get bait from the bank, I'm gonna get bait from the bank, and if I have to go off the bank, I'll go off the bank. But it's a progression for me.
I don't do it. I can. I don't do it. It's usually my backup plan. And I like this year, I don't think I had to throw the net from the kayak once this year. So, I mean,
Did you even throw a net this year, Denny, or did you just watch me throw it all year?
If
I
I
mean,
threw my 8-foot cast net from that kayak, I would have another video of me swimming.
You would. I've thrown enough 8-footers. You absolutely would.
Thank you, Creole Catfishing, for the donation. I appreciate that. All right, cool. Well, any last words, guys? Somebody asked if y'all use chicken for bait. If anybody wants to chime in on that.
So, in the festive spirit, there will be a video on Thursday of me catfishing with turkey.
Oh, all right.
I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Tune in. Links in the description.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, fellas, I really do appreciate it. Ryan, if you were still here, I'd put you up. I really appreciate y'all coming on and sharing your knowledge with us. And it sounds like the overall theme, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is just get out there and do it. Don't try to get all the gear once. Don't worry at once. Don't worry about getting the right gear. Get you some gear, get you a kayak, and go try it. Be safe about it, but go try it. Is that right?
that's it.
Yes, sir.
And if you're a big guy, be really careful and wait until the summertime where the water's not as cold.
And get a new canoe.
Yeah, you go.
Frontier 12.
Cool. Advertisement. Cool. All right, y'all. I'm gonna take y'all off of here. Thank you so much for being. Y'all check out their links in the description to the YouTube channels. All three of them are fantastic, and go support Ryan as well. Y'all have a great night.
Thanks again.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, y'all. Well, before we wrap it up, first I want to say thank you to Danny and Creole for the sticker and the super chat. I appreciate that. The last thing I want to go over, and I got a giveaway too. So if you stayed in this long, I got 71 people in here. I hadn't forgot I got a giveaway for you. But I wanted to thank somebody, and I hadn't seen him pop in yet. But I got a package from Randy Beck. It's been sitting in my P.O. box for a while, and I rarely check it. So, thanks, Danny Dillard. So I got two Dannys donating. Danny D. Thank you, Danny D. Randy Beck sent me a package with some leaders in it. And, it was super nice of him. He said he's coming down in December. He fishes Santee Cooper every year. And he saw a video where I lost what I think would have probably been my new biggest fish. And, due to a leader fraying. Again, wasn't the leader's fault. It was my fault. But he sent me a couple leaders, and I just wanted to show them to you, partially because they're cool, and the other thing is just to thank him and show off what he's making. So there's the swivel. There's a little crimp there. And then it goes down to kind of like a stopper, a bead. This one has a rattle, and he sent me some without rattles. A float. That's one of those ones you can take off. It's got the slit in it. And he got the colors right. And then he's got, another crimp and an A-dot Gamakatsu circle hook. So this is what he had to say. After watching the video where you lost a nice fish when your leader broke off, I just had to send you some of my Santee rigs that I make. Thank you, Mud Tramp. Thank you so much. I'm going to put Becca MT. Thank you. Wow, that's a huge boom. Thank you. I just had to send you some of my Santee rigs that I make. I used to make my leaders from monofilament like I do, and he lost many big fish due to the catfish's teeth chafing the leader. I got tired of having to retie rigs after catching a big catfish. So the leaders he sent me, 4 with rattles, 4 without, are made from AFW 60-pound Surflon nylon coated wire. So that's what that is. Surflon nylon coated wire, 60-pound test. It's the with number 4 crimp sleeves. The barrel swivels are offshore angler brand number 1, 150-pound test. The hooks are A-dot Gamakatsu octopus circle hooks and a 2-inch Kamal slotted peg float. The rattles are for hookers terminal tackle. They're super simple to make, and they store nicely in small baggies. So y'all know that I like to store mine in baggies so that whenever I pop off, and y'all, last weekend I lost 6 rigs, man. It was a bad day, and I didn't catch enough fish to lose 6 rigs. But thank you, Randy Beck, for doing that. I never expect people to send me stuff, but there's just some people who have it on their heart to do that, and I appreciate it. And he said some nice stuff about the channel too. I'll leave that between me and him. So thank you, Randy Beck. I know you're not. Maybe you're listening. Maybe you're hanging back. If you listen to this later, you listen to the podcast. Thank you so much. The second thing is that, something I've been really anticipating, and somebody told me that they think that I'm going to figure out that I'm not as young as I think I am, is that Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., I'm doing a 24-hour live stream fishing challenge on YouTube where I'm going to my river. That's where Anna and I did the couples challenge, and we got signal the whole day to live stream that tournament. So I'm going to do it, and I've got everything, I think, ready to go. Food, grill, heater, clothes. I got tons of bait. I did catch white perch yesterday, and I couldn't catch catfish, but I did. 24-hour live stream fishing challenge, and that starts Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., and it goes for 24 hours with minimal interruption. And I say minimal interruption because apparently, thanks to DMV and S. Smith, they figured out that YouTube will only save 11 hours and 55 minutes of video at one time. So you can go live the whole 24 hours, but it won't save it. And if I'm going to do that, it's going to save every darn minute of it. So I made 3 different live streams. If you notice, if you check out my upcoming live streams, I have 3 different ones. So I'll have to log off and then log back on so that I don't miss any of that. So if you feel up to it, I don't expect anyone to be in there the full 24 hours. But if you want to drop in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, say hey, or laugh at me, or try to keep me awake. Some people were talking about the logistics of a 24-hour live stream. And, Spencer was alluding to bodily functions earlier. And, I do have a pontoon boat, and I have a place that I can do that sort of stuff on, and I'll just have to mute you guys. But, it's probably going to be a train wreck on the boat trying to get all that stuff on there and do everything and keep it running. But we'll have fun. I know we'll have fun, and hopefully I'll catch some fish doing that. So if y'all want to stop by and say hello, I would appreciate that. Come in, go out, come in, go out. And I'm going to do my best not to wimp out and push through the whole 24 hours. And then it's a challenge. So I want to see who else wants to do the challenge. I'm sure Spencer could do one. He camps out all the time. And Brian could do one, no problem. We're with you no matter, Kevin. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'll be watching. Awesome. All right, time for a giveaway. I told those of you who were in here at the beginning, you got to poop. Yeah. Not now, but I'm sure I will. I do have coffee. I'm not going to drink Monster Energy drinks. They're not good for me. So I'll have coffee there in instant packs so I can make coffee. But Michael Murillo, another patron of the show, donated an awesome headlamp. You can see it there. I use these. They're tactical grade. Look at that. Tactical. So you can take these into battle. But anyway, they're really nice. I have two and we used them. So I'm going to give that away because we hit 2,000 subscribers a couple days ago and we hit 1,000 100,000 views on the channel. So y'all, I really appreciate that. When I started this, getting serious about YouTube in April, I never thought that it would grow so quickly. And it's all because of you all. And you all are believing in it and supporting it and watching. And I just thank you so, so much. God has blessed me with that. So y'all are like, shut up, Kevin, give it away so I can get off of here and go to bed. All right. We have 81 wonderful people in here. The only requirement I have is that you're subscribed. So please go ahead and go subscribe and hit the thumbs up. Everybody do that real quick. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up. If you win, before I send it to you, I'll just verify that you're subbed and it's yours, free of charge. All right, y'all. 1 through 200. Pick a number, put it in chat now. Cue the Jeopardy music here. While we're doing that, again, y'all, I asked these people to come on my show these past few weeks, and it's been awesome. They don't have to do it, and especially, some bigger channels that they're big because they create content all the time, and they also have families and children, and I'm thankful for them. So please be a patron of their channel. And I don't mean monetarily, I mean a subscriber patron. Go check it out. If you like what they're doing, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And, watch a few videos. If you don't like what you see, I can't blame you for that. But I can tell you that all of these guys in here that I had tonight, you won't want to unsubscribe from them. You really won't. Brian, can you text me a number? I'm going to let you pick the number, Brian. He's still down here watching. Text me a number on my cell phone. And we'll get that number up here. Okay, Brian. Oh, thanks, Chris. Celebrating my 2K. Thank you for the $5 super chat. All right, there's the number. Okay, I got it. All right, we're going to stop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Somebody type stop, please. As soon as I see the stop, there's a little bit of a delay, so it'll just be a second. All right, I saw Chunky and Murillo and GR Dre type stop. No numbers after that will count. The number is 11. I'll show you right there. 11. So the closest to the number without going over wins. So if you guys could go back in the chat and check that out for me, I'd be much obliged. Closest without going over. If you type 12 or over, you're out of it. Only people with 11 and under can win. While they're doing that, again, I want to remind you to vote for the Golden Whiskers. Brian was nominated and Spencer was nominated. So go check it out. I put links to the videos. I think Spencer was nominated for Kayak Angler of the Year and Creator of the Year. So yeah, that's 2. And Brian was Blooper and Kayak Angler of the Year. I think that's right. So if you haven't voted, go ahead and do that. That show's going to be on December 19th at 7:30 on a Saturday. Rock Bottom Cats. All right. Rock Bottom Cats. There's a kayak angler. please send me you're on Instagram. You can send it to me on Instagram. If you don't follow Rock Bottom Cats, and I know Spencer's really active on Instagram. Brian, are you on Instagram? He is. He did this. Go check them out on Instagram. I am also what? You're gonna give away a are you serious? Chris Flores says, give these guys a Muddy River catfishing rod on my behalf. Are you talking about a giveaway? If so, you guys are getting a treat. So anyway, Rock Bottom Cats, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook with your address, and I'll mail you this awesome headlamp. I know you'll use it fishing, so send me that. I'm waiting on Chris. Chris, you can text me if you want. Chris said, give these guys. I don't know if he's saying give Spencer and Brian one. Spencer's saying no. Oh, we're going to give out a new medium action rod. Holy cow. You guys, that's the new hotness. That's the one that hasn't even been released yet. Are you kidding me right now? You guys are lucky guys and gals tonight. The new medium action cat rod. I've actually seen it. It's gold. It's got gold reel seats in it. Man, it's going to be awesome. All right. So if you stayed on, then you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. Here we go. We're going to do, let's go ahead and pick the number first. Chris, let's let Spencer, go ahead and put in the private chat the number that you want. It's going to be 1 through 300. 1 through 300. So I'm going to have him do that because this is special, y'all. Like, nobody has one of these rods that the general public doesn't. I know Chris sent some out for testing, but these aren't available to the public. So if you're going to win one, you're going to be one of the first in the general public to have one. All right. I have the number. There it is. Okay, I see it. All right, 1 through 300 on your mark, get set, go. Y'all, this is for a Muddy River catfishing rod, medium action, brand new. It's probably still warm from when they made it. It's gold. It's black with white and yellow on the tip, and then it's got a gold reel seat. So if you're an Iowa football fan or a Steelers fan or Saints fan, or I guess it doesn't have to be football. Pittsburgh Pirates. Man, that's awesome. Chris, thank you so much. It's an honor just for you to give it away on my show. That's crazy, man. But Chris does crazy stuff like that. And I hope he's a, he's going to be an inspiration for a lot of people. He's been an inspiration for me just to do nice things for people. It's just the right thing to do. But this is above and beyond, man. Thank you so much. I wish I could win it. Chesapeake Bay Catfishing, man. If you win that, it would match your logo. It would match your logo. I hope Michael Murillo is still watching, because he said he's going to buy like 15 of those rods when he gets to the Catfish Conference. I don't see a number from him. Oh, no. Oh, man. If he's not in here and there he is. Oh, man. All right. 5 more seconds. 5, 4. You can't go over 300. You cannot go over 300. 2, 1. Somebody type stop. Yeah. What a way to give back. No lie, Muskrat. No lie. All right. Nothing after Chunky Cat's Fishing said stop. Okay. So are y'all ready for the number? I wish I could put it up on screen, but I can't. It's 59. 59 is the number. So if you picked a number 59 and under, you are eligible. Everybody who picked a number over 59 is out and is sad right now. And Spencer picked that before we started drawing. Sorry, Brian Posey, you're a little bit behind in the stream. So if y'all could help me out, 59 was the number, 59. Again, 1 Ton Fishing. I got your shirt on. I'm not sure if you saw that earlier. I got your shirt on. I try to support everyone. I got a River certified shirt. I need to get me one of them hoodies, man. That thing looks good. Here, let Spencer show that off. Boom. Merch.
Yeah. This is the heavyweight one that's extra warm too.
Woo! There you go. Warm water gear. That's all you need. D, are you kidding me? Did D really win again? Somebody said Murillo. Uh-oh. We got to fight. Who won? Chunky says congrats, D. Spencer said D. Well, who said Murillo? Why is Douglas saying Murillo? Now somebody else is saying Murillo. All right, y'all. I need y'all to listen. I need y'all to help me out. Y'all got to stop picking numbers, Jason and Daniel. It's over. Y'all got to grab that scroll bar and scroll to the end or double tap the screen. I got another D. I got another D. Is it D or Michael Murillo? Murillo had 52. What did D had? What did D have? Sorry, I got a little ghetto on you. D. I see D again. D had 57. All right. D, don't you let Chad use that rod. That is your rod. That is awesome. It couldn't have gone to a better person. D, congratulations. Contact Chris Flores, Muddy River Catfishing. The best dude out there. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Thank you. For doing that for my guests. And, you know, everybody may, you know, go to other shows and watch other shows. And I do the same thing. Anytime somebody goes live, I try to catch it. But man, to see somebody coming and doing something like that for my guests that he didn't have to do, it really makes me feel awesome. Show that shirt again. Okay, I'll show it again. 1 Ton. 1 Ton, what are you going to give away? I'm sitting here showing the shirt. No, I'm just kidding. Cool. Mad respect, Muddy River. Y'all, thank you so much. Congratulations, D. There it is. Send me your mailing information at chrisfloresfishing@gmail.com. Holy cow. That's awesome. Thank you again to Becca, Danny S4E, Creole, Danny Dillard, and Chris Flores for the super chats and stickers. Thank you to my Boom Squad members. Thank you to my guests. Y'all, we've been on here for an hour and 48 minutes. We still got 70 people watching, even after the giveaways are over. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And that makes me feel good that that we didn't just have people in here prize hunting. That's awesome. Anyway, y'all know how we end the show. But before we do, I got to show y'all something. I'm just really excited about it. Can I show you something real quick? I'm going to pop this up here. This is next week's show. Anna and I are going camping on Saturday all day, and then Sunday morning we're coming back. I wasn't going to do a show next week, but I thought, man, I got to keep this series going. And what have we not covered yet? We haven't covered boats. I'm working on that. But we had to get the important stuff out of the way. Here's next week's show, y'all. Check it out. So if you want to come on Palmetto Cats Live, this is going to be a little bit of different format. I'm going to do, and I'm struggling with the words, but I'm going to do an open mic night or an open link. However, I'm only going to put one person on the screen at a time. So what do you say? Last time my name was on a whiteboard, I was sent to detention. Well, we won't send you to detention this time. I don't know. Oh, thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. So we're doing snacks next week. So I know Fishing with the Chad want to come on. I know if Brian's available, he'll chime in. But yeah, we're going to talk about snacks next week. It's not going to be a serious show. We're going to have a lot of fun. I will ask that if you want to come in, if you want to click on the link to come in and talk about your favorite boat snacks, that you actually have the snacks available. So don't come on here with nothing in your hands. You know, if you like Mountain Dew, come on with the Mountain Dew. If you like Christmas tree cakes, since they're in season now, come on with Christmas tree Debbie cakes. All right, cool. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. If I know I didn't shout people out, but y'all, we got so many awesome people in here. I don't want to miss anybody and make people feel like I don't recognize them and appreciate them. So, all right, I'm gonna pray us out, and then we'll be gone. Heavenly Father, thank you for tonight. Lord, it's been another wonderful show. Thank you for giving me this platform to share my love of fishing, make new friends, and Lord, share my love for you here at the end. Lord, I do it through scripture on my videos, and I'm doing it now by praying in public. Lord, we're supposed to profess our faith publicly to show those that we follow you and that we call you Lord and Savior. And I'm doing that now. I thank you for this country where we can do this freely. And I just pray that you would bless all of my supporters, Lord, all of my guests, and all of our fans and members in chat. Lord, I just thank you for all of them, and I know it's all because of you. And I pray this in your name, Jesus. Amen. All right, y'all. Thanks again. Awesome, awesome, awesome show. I'm not going to belabor the point anymore. I'm getting droopy-eyed. We have our district has one day of school, then we have Thanksgiving break. I don't know why they do this to us, but I got to work tomorrow, y'all. So anyway, love all of y'all. Thank you so much. Happy fishing.